and thank you for your interest in this presentation on the violet flame. We will cover the effects and purpose of the violet flame, the Count of St. Germain's past and present influences, and with his Lady Portia, those influences in this Aquarian age, and the goals of the transition that we are currently all in. More than 50,000 years ago, a Golden Age civilization thrived in a fertile country with semi-tropical climate, where the Sahara Desert is now. Great peace, happiness and prosperity reigned, and the population was ruled with supreme justice and wisdom by the soul we know as the Count of St. Germain. This empire reached a height of beauty, symmetry and perfection, consistent with the archetype of Christhood which the Count embodied. The people knew they were part of the central sun, and most had superhuman abilities. They lived in the consciousness of the I am that I am, which sustained them in the stream of the one life principle. However, some of the population turned to the temporary sensual pleasures and lost sight of the bigger picture. They subsequently forgot about their central sun connection, and their powers diminished. So the rulers withdrew to allow them to learn the lessons resulting from their choice. Thus the goal to liberate the children of the light is seen through the lives of the Count, extending from the Golden Age civilization throughout his incarnations, and now from the inner levels. The high priest of the violet flame temple on Atlantis sustained a pillar of fire, a fountain of violet flame through invocation and his higher self. The Count was this high priest, and today he officiates as head of the seventh ray office within the inner government of Earth. The Count works with the goddess of justice, Lady Portia, and together they live to make humanity free. He is unceasing in his efforts to prevent further warfare and to establish freedom, peace and enlightenment on our planet Earth. To assist his efforts, divine alchemy, which is the science of the seventh ray, the violet ray, has been released from the central sun to assist the evolution of the life streams on this planet. The seventh ray is the active ray affecting the Earth throughout this current 2,160-year cycle known as the Aquarian Age. The lesson that humanity will learn under the seventh ray influence is that the soul is the fiery source of each person, and that the soul will gain control of the personality. The main function of the seventh ray is to blend spirit and matter, which becomes the necessary medium for the glory of the soul life to be present in daily life. The soul can then take charge, and ignorance and suffering will be unknown. The violet flame is a high vibration of spiritual energy that can transmute lower vibrations caused by ignorance and negativity in humanity, which would otherwise manifest as karma. The violet flame changes negative into positive and darkness into light. Esoteric groups and mystery schools in the past have known of the violet flame. Also, early alchemists not only sought to turn metal to gold, but also searched for the philosopher's stone, which symbolized the transmutation of the lower animal nature into the divine or soul nature. The stone is said to be not physical, but the transmuting violet fire. Neoplatonist alchemists claimed that the philosopher's stone was a self-transforming fire that would lead their souls upwards, drawing up to the spirit all qualities that drag downwards and opposed the spiritual essences. The process led to their bodies vibrating at a higher frequency, enabling them to contain more light. The gift of the violet flame has been rediscovered in this age to allow the frequency to be raised in the heart to the heart consciousness in the population. The violet flame is also known as grace, which acts as a form of dispensation, allowing some karmic conditions to be reduced or neutralized. When conditions are right for the individual, the violet flame can intercept karmic forces returning and transmute them through the violet vibration. The violet flame acts as a cleanser of the force fields in the human cells, producing an increase in the vibratory action of the electrons within the atoms. Atoms have a hollow space between the electrons that is constantly qualified by thoughts and feelings. If the thoughts and feelings are negative, a lower vibratory rate is produced. This slows down the movement of the electrons. The violet flame loosens this negative substance. The electrons spin faster, and the flame absorbs the negative substance. So the frequency of an individual is raised to a higher vibration through the process called divine alchemy. Alchemy produces the transformation of form. Upon invocation, the violet flame streams through the individual's Christ self, which is the higher mental body, then into the personality and physical life. The effects are felt as a sense of release, as if the accounts of life are being balanced, allowing increased peace of mind. It does not give a burning sensation, but is felt as lightness and release from pressure. Sufficient use of the violet flame not only erases or reduces suffering, but also affects the cause or core of that suffering. It can remove the forces that prevent success also. So in summary, the action of the violet flame is threefold. 1, upon invocation it blazes down and up, in and around us. 2, it affects the point of light in every cell, accelerating the evolution of cellular life. And 3, it floods the denser bodies of the personality of the human self with cosmic light. Simply said, what you sow you also reap. Thought, emotion and feeling are the creative faculties that shape the world. What is sent out through thoughts and feelings is also attracted back. Thoughts, feelings and actions that spring from negative motives will return to the individual, to the family, organization or nation as karma. And these thoughts and feelings can gather more of the same frequency on their way back. Karma, returning, may bring distress, disease, and seeming injustices or accidents. Karma is attracted by negativity in the mental and emotional bodies. All energy seeks to return to wholeness and perfection. Therefore, negative or misused energy must return to its source for redemption. The individual or group experiences brought about by the redemptive process provide the lessons needed to understand the effects of motives and actions. The Count of Saint-Germain was known as the Wonder Man in his final known incarnation within the courts of Europe in the 18th century. It has been suggested that he was the son of Prince Rákóczi II, the deposed Hungarian ruler. The Count did not age, and he was also seen to disappear. He was admired as a philosopher, healer, diplomat, historian, scientist, alchemist, artist and musician. He travelled the world and spoke many languages. He attempted to avert the French Revolution, but those in power ignored his advice and the revolution took place. He also tried to assist Napoleon to establish the United States of Europe, but again his advice was not heeded. Having failed to gain the attention of the courts of France, the Count turned his focus to the United States of America, where he hoped to establish the focus of freedom. He worked with other masters to establish the Theosophical Society over 100 years ago, within which esoteric books on divine wisdom were written. He was also known as Christopher Columbus, Francis Bacon, Merlin, among others, and was behind the foundation of the Rosicrucian and Freemason orders. His main retreat is the Cave of Symbols in the USA, located within Mount Shasta in Northern California. The Count's twin flame is Lady Portia, goddess of justice, freedom, and opportunity. She represents justice for the earth, and her action brings balance via harmony, and she is a member of the Karmic Board. Lady Portia and the Count are responsible for this current Aquarian age. Lady Portia can be called upon to assist us, especially in legal action. She went into her perfection in the great silence, when imperfection externalized on earth, so that she would not be drawn into the discord. She became active again in the affairs of humanity this century. She teaches the attainment of balance between the polarities. For example, how to balance love and wisdom, and justice and mercy. She can assist us to raise our vibrations to the heart, so not to judge others, to be more accepting, and to forgive in order to release ourselves and others involved. Lady Portia is the keeper of the sacred heart flame, which is the feminine aspect of the violet flame energy. She encourages the student to view the I Am Presence as the inner master. She is the new world mother for this age, succeeding Lady Mary in the Western world. Records of her incarnations are rare, but she is said to have served in nursing and healing roles, and was later a daughter of the Celtic Queen Boadicea. In some versions, her name was Tashka, and she went into battle with her Celtic Queen Mother as a warrior princess. Celtic women were trained in the use of swords, and Boadicea was a Druidic and Celtic goddess and priestess around AD 50, at the same time the Romans were trying to eradicate the local spiritual practices, which in Britain was Druidry. After the last battle, which was won by the Romans, Tashka was spirited away by what remained of the Druidic priesthood to ensure that traditional ways and beliefs which were transferred by the spoken word were not lost. Her character is also represented by her namesake in Shakespeare's The Merchant of Venice, a play revolving around the issue of justice. Portia says in the play, I quote, "The quality of mercy is not strained. It droppeth as a gentle rain from heaven upon the place beneath, which is twice blessed. It blesseth him that gives, and him that takes." End of quote. She reminds us that humanity and each person has a beating heart, primal life, and the opportunity each day to assist in the unfoldment of the highest human potential and to progress towards fulfillment. She asks us to call upon the I Am Presence for perfect inspiration in our endeavours. Lady Portia also reminds humanity that love and compassion of the Great Mother and the all-knowing Spirit abide in every heart. She can be called upon to be enfolded in her heart of love, and she helps us to anchor the violet flame of transformation within our hearts and minds and within humanity. One of Lady Portia's main roles is to teach humanity how to attain and balance the physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual selves through using the attributes of the four elements of earth, wind, air, and fire. She governs judgment and mercy and assists those who want to balance head and heart. She inspires us to be all that we can be and encourages us to live our dreams and fulfill our purpose with excellence and success. The violet flame brings freedom. The violet flame is a radiance of the freedom flame. Freedom is living in balance between the worlds of matter and spirit, within compassion and in the understanding of the interdependence of all life, globally and cosmically. Attention then turns to nurturing the highest good in all due to alignment with soul consciousness. Prayers of request have been the accepted pathway to the divine in the Piscean age. In the Aquarian age, invocation is taking the place of prayer and worship. Invocation is focused intention, which forms an outgoing stream of energy that telepathically reaches enlightened beings. These beings respond by allowing a flow of spiritual energy into the minds of humanity. Violet flame invocations are among the most powerful transformational methods humanity can use at this time. The process of dismantling that which separates us from the divine is called transformation. This transition to a new worldview, including the divine, is a rite of passage for the individual and for the whole of humanity. This passage gives the control of the personality to the Christ self or soul, so that the love between people is increased, and increased enough that life will be completely transformed on this planet. Our Ascended Masters have another name for our planet, which is Freedom's Star. I'll mention some of what they say about this. The Lord Meru says, I quote, "The kingdom of heaven shall be established here on earth, like unto that which is in heaven. And that kingdom shall endure forever on earth. The great Lord, Ascended Master Saint Germain and his Lady Portia shall be the guardians of that permanent golden age as earth becomes freedom's star." End of quote. Lord Moria says, quote, "The complete expression of Deity's plan for the earth as freedom's star depends entirely upon the release of the particular gifts, powers and virtues of all in embodiment today, as well as the Christ self of all who are to come here in the future. Among men and women of the earth, there are some willing enough to stand and ask for the will of God. Then, when knowing that will, to desire to incorporate even the most reluctant feelings into that will, which is the divine pattern and tapestry for life, and make of this planet freedom's star." End of quote. Lady Portia says, I quote, "The planet Earth is destined to become a magnificent star of blazing light, a star of freedom within a short period of time." End of quote. Saint Germain says, and I quote, "The souls of men are our concern, all men of all colours, all countries, because from the flame in their hearts will come the illumination which will make this dark star a flaming sun of freedom." End of quote. Lord Kutumi says, quote, The redeeming of personal karma by drawing back through the heart flame the miscreations of the centuries will make of this earth a beautiful, shining sun, the star of freedom, that has attained the right and honour of a permanent place in the solar system. End of quote. Sanakumara says, quote, Shambhala lives and breathes in the ethers over the Gobi Desert and shall remain there until it is lowered again permanently into the physical appearance world as the Golden Age proceeds, and humanity, individually and collectively, prove themselves worthy to sustain it for all eternity. It will be my gift to the evolution that I have loved, which will remain a part of the star of freedom long after I have returned again to my home. End of quote. The Divine Director, Master R, says, quote, the Manu of each root race chooses souls for the initial impulsive embodiment of that root race. They are the life streams whose causal bodies are rich in the particular qualities requisite to the building of a foundation of work in the world of form. When all who belong to the earlier races are ascended or no longer inhabit the earth, then shall come the seventh race. A race so fair and beautiful will begin to incarnate, and the earth becomes a star of freedom. Then shall men and women be gods embodied. All quotes are from A.D. Look, author of Law of Life and Teachings by Divine Beings. The Count of Saint Germain offers humanity the following, and I quote from Elizabeth Clare Prophet. Let the great circle of our oneness and our love cancel out all division, all misunderstanding, all ignorance, and every false testimony, arriving at the point of reality, which is the heart perspective. I make all things new by the flame of the heart, by the vision of the heart, by the wisdom of the heart, that is the endless stream of the endless source. The reward of love is great, so let us realize we are God-free beings using these vehicles to accomplish an end. Let us not lose sight of the goal, which is the coming of the mighty I Am presence of each one. Remember your star and learn the way of power, the immense power of peace itself. End of quote. In conclusion, each day and night we close the door to evil by how we live our lives. As each of us changes, it changes the whole. And this effort will be rewarded with the return to peace and true freedom on this planet. It is in our hands via the law of free will. What you focus upon is what you become. This current age will bring the earth again to the pattern of the immaculate concept which it had in the beginning, when first our beloved Helios and Vesta directed the mighty energy currents and created in the heart of the silent watcher named Immaculata the divine pattern for this earth. The first Elohim drew from that pattern and made the earth as a planet of beauty, shining and brilliant in its orbit. To return to this perfection, the great process of redemption lies in the hands of divine beings, as well as those who are willing to assist the Master's activities and service in the unascended realm. We are preparing for the experience of a loving, peaceful existence on this our planet. Thank you.